Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor and please subscribe if you haven't already. Also consider joining my Patreon page for some cool perks. I'll leave a link in the description. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We are not makers of history, we are made by history." Speaking of history, it's time to turn back the clock on music history. During each episode of Music History, I will tell you about some interesting music events that have happened today, June 16th. To ensure this video stays short and sweet, I'm only going to discuss 10 important moments. I put them in chronological order. Let's begin. First, on this day in 1967, the Summer of Love started with the monumental Monterey Pop Festival. The lineup for the three-day festival features some of the biggest bands from that particular era, like the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Big Brother and the Holding Company, The Who, The Byrds, Simon and Garfunkel, Canned Heat, Jefferson Airplane, The Grateful Dead, The Mamas and the Papas, and the Steve Miller Band. Around 200,000 people stopped by to witness this colossal concert live. On this day in 1971, arguably the greatest rapper of all time, Tupac Shakur, took his first breath. In addition, on this day in 1971, Elvis Presley put out his Love Letters from Elvis album, which he hoped fans would adore. However, fans didn't fall in love with it at all. Surprisingly, despite Elvis already being declared as the king of rock and roll years earlier, Love Letters from Elvis actually soared much higher on the country album charts compared to the rock chart. On this day in 1976, CBS began broadcasting a half-hour TV show titled The Jacksons. Every member of the Jackson family except Jermaine appeared in the pilot episode. This program symbolized a major milestone because never before had a TV show contained a complete cast of African Americans. Ultimately, 12 episodes aired. On this day in 1982, the Pretenders' pretty great guitarist James Honeyman Scott met his demise when he was only 25 years old. An autopsy determined that cocaine caused his untimely death. On this day in 1983, ex-Beatle Ringo Starr released his 9th solo album called Old Wave. Old Wave failed to make a splash among consumers. Instead, Ringo received a lot of negative reviews. It didn't even get certified gold. On this day in 1994, bassist of the band Hole, Kristen Pfaff, passed away from a heroin overdose at age 27. On this day in 1999, the phenomenal Phil Collins was issued his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. On this day in 2010, at a concert in Poland, the Big Four of thrash metal, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer joined forces playing together for the first time. Last but not least, on this day in 2013, Black Sabbath broke the record for the longest gap between number one albums on the UK chart. Paranoid snagged the top spot in 1970, and 43 years would elapse until their most recent record, 13, would repeat that feat again. Well, that's it. What's your favorite thing that occurred on June 16th? Let me know in the comments. Before I go, I want to give a special shout out to my supporters on Patreon, Matt and Stacy from Canada. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Till then, rock on.